Okay, what we've done so far is we've defined a site and we have set up a remote site for it. And what I'm going to do here now is see where those files are. So under Window Files, if you ever want to see your site, you go to Window Files, and there they are. And again, if they're reduced in size like that, you click on this little button here, and that expands it. Now, mine is going to look a little bit different from yours because there are already a bunch of files over here. I'm using another student's space right now. But this is going to be my local site. This is the remote site. And what I have in here are some files which I've made, and I'm going to show you how to make them as well. But I just wanted to show you to begin with what we've got. And what I would like you to do is to make a homework page so that throughout the semester that we're working together, you're going to always have a link from your homework page to your various assignments that you'll be doing. So what I have here is the page itself. Yours is going to look just like this. It'll have your name, it'll have the session, and it will have some links to your assignments. And if I click on Live View here, I'll see that these will actually be rollovers that look like this when you roll over. Okay. Now it's a very sparse web page so far. It's going to get better, but for now this is what I would like you to have: is your name, a picture of yourself, and the links to your different assignments. Okay. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to go out of Live View here a minute. I'm going to go back to my files, so Window Files. And I'm actually going to delete these files that I have created because I want to make them with you right now. So I'm going to go to Edit, Delete. I did that by control clicking on those files, and it's going to delete those files. And now they'll be gone. Alright, and if I refresh this, it's going to disappear on us. So in order to make a new page, I'll go back to my files again. We have a couple different ways to do this. One is that we can make it directly from our local file folder here by holding down Control and clicking on the folder icon, and we could make a new file here. That would be one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to go up to the File menu and go to New, and blank HTML page is what we're going to start with. So why don't we do that? File, New, blank HTML, and the layout is going to be none because we're going to create our own layout. Click on Create. Okay, right now I'm in the split or the code view. This is the HTML code that was written by Dreamweaver for me. It's got the document type up in here. It's got the head. It's got the title. Right now it's untitled document, and I want to title this Homework Page. And watch what happens up in here with this title when I do this. When I go into my split view and click over here, it changes the name up here. I could put that name here, or I could do it down in the code. Now what is split view? Split view is going to show me the code view on the left hand side, and this is the stage or the working area, what the website is going to look like on the right hand side. Okay, so let's just try it out. I'm going to type something in here. I'm going to put in homework for Prof. Hazlett. You could do something for yourself just like this. Summer 1, 2011. Okay? So you can see that this text appears here just like you're typing a Word document, but it also appears in our code view in between our body tags. Anything in between the body tags, the body opening, body closing, is going to appear in our website. What does this thing look like if we view it in a browser? Let's go to this little world, click on it. I'm going to pull down to Safari here, and it says, do you want to save these changes? Yes, I do. I want to save this website web page right now. Call it save, and I'll call this homework.html. Okay. Click save, and there it is. This is what our web page looks like. It's as real of a web page as any other web page that's out there. It's just that there's not a whole lot to it. All right, so we're going to add to this. We're going to style our web page a little bit. Okay, so we're coming back to the Dreamweaver document. Let's do some things with this. First of all, I'm going to just start setting up for you the basics of how you're going to want to lay out your site and lay out virtually every site that we're going to work on. There's some basic things that we do. First of all, we're going to insert a div tag. Hopefully by now you've learned a little bit about them. We're going to do that right here. I'm going to click on Insert Div Tag, and I'm going to start by doing a new CSS rule, and I want this to apply to an ID, which applies to only one HTML element on the page. And for IDs to work, you need to use the number sign and then name it. I'm going to call this container. Now I use a container for virtually every one of my sites. It's going to be what defines basically the structure of the outside edges of the site. Now this is important down here. We want to define this as a new style sheet file. Okay. Click on OK, and here's my new style sheet file. It says, what do you want to save it as? I'll save it as homework.css for my style sheet file. And I'm going to click on save. Alright. Now, we're going to now define that container div tag. We're going to give it some definition in our style sheet. Now this is an external style sheet that is going to be residing outside of our HTML document. Right now it says link to homework.css. That's this style sheet that we're working on right now. Okay, so we want to try to keep as much as we can our styles separate from our HTML structure. Okay, so for our container, I'm going to go to background, and I'm just going to give it a little background color, and I often do this just so I can see where my work is ending up. And I'm going to go to my box, and I'm going to give it a width of, so it'll fit in this window here. I'm just going to give it a width of 650, let's say. And the other thing I want to do for my container is I want to deselect same for all, and I want to give it a margin of auto left, auto right. And what that's going to do is allow the container to float right in the middle of my browser, no matter how large I make my browser. So click on OK, click on OK, and here's my container. Alright, now I missed one thing, and that is I needed to determine the size of this container in terms of the height. So I'm going to go back to it, and this is where you start to use your styles. Alright, what happened was when we made a style sheet and we linked it to this page here, this homework CSS is linked to our homework.html page, or the HTML page. I'm going to open up this little caret here, and I'm going to see that it says container, and this is giving me some information about this. Now something nice about Dreamweaver is if I just highlight my style, it gives me all the properties here, and I can quickly go through and I can change the background color here to whatever I want. I think I'll go back to what I had. I'll make it green this time. And but I could also double click this and get this window with all of the different types of information that I can style this container with. I'm going to go back to box, and something that I didn't do is give it a height. I'm going to give it a height of 600 and width of 650 so we can see what it looks like. And there it is. Okay, let's see what this looks like in a browser. Preview it in Safari, save it, yep, there it is. Okay, so now we've got a website. Not so good. It's got our text outside of the container. It's got this content for ID. We're going to fix all that stuff right now. whenever you make a div tag and insert one through the insert palette, it gives you this text here that says put your content here, and basically you just get rid of that and you put the content that you really want to go in there. Now I can't just grab it and put it in there. What I'm going to have to do is look into my code here a little bit, and I can see that my container opens and my container closes, and there's nothing in between it. So I'm going to give it a few spaces so I can deal with what's in between that. And I want to put this homework for Prof. Hazlett right there. So now this should appear right inside my container, and there it goes. Okay, that's okay, but it's not great, because what we want to have happen is for this, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, there we go. What we want to have happen is for this to be centered on the page, and we want to style that with something a little bit more interesting than Times New Roman. So we're going to go ahead and make another style, and I'm going to do that down here under new CSS rule, this little plus sign. Click on that, and this is going to apply a style to this text. Now, there are these HTML tags, which are defined elements that are already existing in the HTML language, and I'm going to define an H1 tag, or a heading tag, right now. So click on that, go down here, and here's an H1 tag, and that is going to be my tag for my title here. Okay, so I don't want it to be in this document only. I want it to be in my homework CSS, and this is going to start defaulting to homework CSS here in a minute. But we want to try to put all of our styles into our external style sheet. So I click on OK, and for the style here, for the H1 tag, I am going to go into the font size, and I'm going to make it large. Actually, I'll make it extra large. Now these, we can get into this a little bit later, but you could define it as a point size. However, point sizes are very fixed. If you go with large or extra large, that's relative to how big a screen size might be. So it's a good idea to go ahead and use extra large, large, medium, small, depending on the font size of the basic font that you're going to be using. Okay, I'm going to just put extra large for now, and I'm going to click on OK. Well, let me give it a color, because I want this to be a little bit different. So it's going to be extra large red. Click on OK. Now nothing happened yet because I haven't styled this text on the screen. See, it still has no styling to it. The style is actually happening in my style sheet, and if I look up here I can see my style sheet. Right next to source code, I'm going to click on homework style. Right now I've got a style for container, and I've got a style for H1. And all H1 is saying is make it extra large and make it that red color. That's a hexadecimal number for the color. So I'm going to go back to my source code, and what I want to do now is go ahead and apply that style to this text. So the way that I do that is I select it all, I go to my properties inspector. If you don't see your properties inspector, it's under window properties. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and find the class right here, because we made a class, and I'm going to attach. Oh, you know what? It wasn't a class, it was a heading 1. Here it is, heading 1. There it is, heading 1, and it applied it to the page. Okay, one last thing I want to do before we break is I want to go back to my H1. I want to go to the block now because I want to center this text here. I'm going to go to text align center. I'm going to apply it. There it is. And now I have a centered, styled piece of text. And in our next video, we're going to show you some more about styling that. And that's it.